Okay, looks like they're caught up. PJnet.TV, it's 9:36 on the East Coast, and it is past time for J.D. Wininger to take us on a trip around the Cross W. So let's make sure we're recording, and we are. Make sure we're streaming, and we are. And make sure the chat room's waiting, and they are. And we will count it down. Studio 37 Alpha. Well, that did not go the way I thought. Counting down to 37 Alpha. Okay, I get it. Good evening, and welcome to PJnet.TV, where you are about to take a trip around the Cross W Ranch, because every week at this time our friend and brother in Christ, J.D. Wininger, gives us a little tour, and he does. And we will then bring him on board because JD's got a lot to. My computer needs exorcising. It has demons. Well, I don't want to turn the speaker off, but anyway, JD, good to see you, brother. And I have whoopsie up on the screen. I have you. Have this beautiful picture that accompanies your blog, and I will get that right here and get it kind of where you can see it, actually. New growth. Okay. Your picture was kind of bleeding up.
I thought maybe that fireplace that had burned the edge off there.
Yeah, the fireplace is scalding, right. Scorched earth, as we would call it. And I have been observing a lot of new growth in more places than nature.
Yes, sir.
and here.
No comment, Coach.
Here.
Yes, sir.
There's just new growth going.
But here, Coach.
But speak for yourself, young man.
No, sir. Anyway, blog this week was all about growth and how God reminds me that hey, I ain't doing this all by myself. I went out to feed one morning, and I threw open the gate, to head into the west pasture, and I saw all these little seedlings sprouting up, and I had to stop and take a picture, because that's what farmers do. And I'm excited because it was only 8 or 9 days, really, since I planted, so it really germinated and came up quick, but the ground had plenty of moisture in it, and it's good and fertile and things. But it really germinated quick, and it sprouted up there, and I was just thrilled to death because I was about a month late planting because we'd had so much rain. It's hard to drill seed in when it's in underwater. So had to wait for it to dry out a little bit, and then I had to prepare the soil, and after I get the seed down, I run a chain harrow over it, and get it all nice and smooth, and everything's looking good, I think, and okay, Lord, it's your turn, right? I've done all I could do. You got to bring the harvest. And man, that stuff germinated, popped up there, like I said, in less than 10 days. And if I had to guess, out of the 800 pounds of seed that I planted out there, I'd have to guess that probably 95% of it germinated. I mean, just really a nice stand, as we call it. You just see those pretty young green shoots all over the place, and boy, that feels good. Of course, then the cows spy them, and they don't want to get off of them, Give them a chance to grow, would you, fellas? But coming up and looking so great, and I was thinking about, man, I sure worked hard to get this summer forage crop in, and I'm just thankful to you, Lord, that it's doing so good, and look at how well I prepared the soil that it would do this, and I started feeling a little prideful, and that's when 1 Corinthians 3:7 popped into my head, and said, neither he that plants anything or he who waters, but it's God that gives the increase, and he's talking about Paul and his buddy, and I'm going, yeah, I remember, Lord, so thank you for the ego check, as I call it, but what I've learned is whenever I'm observing something here around the farm or the ranch, and God's word pops into my head, and I know that it's written on my heart, and that's how it gets to my head so quick, I think. But when it comes, I know it's time for me to pay attention because God's got something He wants to show me. And sure enough, so as I was thinking about it, and what He wanted to show me was that my work was just beginning. Just because the grass has germinated and come up, I'm a long way from done. I've still got to fertilize it, and we've got to make sure we get some rain coming next week, and weed control. So I've got to spray my Patriot now that it's up and going. I don't want to spray my pre-emergent on it
Hmm.
until it's up and established a little bit, right? Yeah. So now I got to do that so I can keep the goat weed and milkweed at bay, and so I still got work to do, and that's important to remember. But what God also wanted me to understand is that I'm making all these investments of time and energy and fertilizer at about $560 a ton these days. Yeah, and I'm doing all of these things. And what investments am I making in my family's spiritual growth and in my own spiritual growth? What am I doing to uh, increase my spiritual harvest? And made me stop and think about that. How am I helping my family mature their faith, and how am I helping them grow? And then I thought, how am I helping others? How to in their walk, right? Do I pray with others? Do I uh, come alongside and help others? Uh, do I set the example? Do people see Christ when they see me out and about in the public eye, right? When I'm standing in line at Walmart. And these days, that's a 2 mile line because they've only got two checkout people in the whole store. Everything else is self checkout. And we'll get on that rant another night, Coach. But why do I pay the same price and have to bag and check myself out for the same cost? Ought to be a discount there somewhere, Coach. But anyway, I look at that, and then I thought about my buddy Jeremiah here, who's in the next room over from me as I was writing this last week. And what am I sowing into his life, Coach? What is that young man going to learn or take from his time with me that's going to help him as he grows and matures into manhood? And those are important questions that we need to ask ourselves. So, I guess my question to everybody, in my tweet and things, is in what ways does your life support and encourage spiritual growth, both in yourself and in others? So that's kind of where it went this week. I kind of referred to us all Christians just by virtue of the Great Commission in Matthew. We're all God's farmers, and I think farmers, and Miss Catherine can probably agree with me here, we understand the concepts of reaping or sowing and reaping, and tilling deep and things much better than other people do because we put God's mandates, we put God's law, we put God's actions and directives into practice every day in one way or another. So I looked at that and I said, how can we help God increase the harvest, right? It's not our harvest. Our job is just to plant the seeds, right? So we're all God's farmers. Plant the seed, God will bring the harvest. So that's kind of what it was about this week, Coach.
New growth um, always looks better. It looks fresher. It's lighter in color. It's not scarred up yet. It's tender, but it's also at its most vulnerable point.
Oh, very true. And that's true spiritually too, isn't it, sir?
I was trying to tee that up for
New
you.
new Christians are the most vulnerable. I agree. Yeah.
Well, and our young people, as I read your blog, I was just so inspired and so proud of you personally, pouring yourself into that young Jeremiah. And because not only was I reading that in your blog, I was seeing that in your post earlier this week. You took him out and here's how you ride a horse. And here's
Yes,
how
yes.
you use a rope. Here's how you back a trailer. These are, investments in our young people, and it's,
Yes.
he may not ever need to rope a cow. He may not ever need to, but he does need to
But
learn how to learn.
yes, sir. And there's a lot of principles, and the best lesson I can teach about roping to anybody is learn to keep your eye on the mark, right? So people think you're looking at the whole cow's head, and you don't. You just look at one spot on the back of that cow's neck, and that's what you throw to, right? When you're bringing your rope around and you're breaking your wrist, and you're letting it roll, when you throw it, kind of like a baseball, and you lay it out there, and you're aiming for that spot. You look at that one little mark. So it's teaching you how to focus, right? What was interesting is that transferred a few days later. Yesterday, I took him to um, the shooting range, and I taught him how to shoot a weapon and how to handle weapons safely and everything. Of course, Papa Jim told him, don't make me put my boot up your rear, So you be an adult and you listen and you pay attention and everything. And he did wonderfully, Coach. He's been a great little worker. He works hard. The other night he surprised me after dinner. I sat back to grab a quick nap in my easy chair. It's what grandpas do. And he said, "Come here, I want to show you something. Come outside." Okay. He's all excited. You know how young people are. So we get out and he get in the buggy. Okay. So we're in the UTV and he takes me down the end of the drive. Now, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't look, Grandpa. Okay. Yeah. What is it? Okay, look. And he'd taken the weed whacker and he weed whacked all the weeds along the ditch, along the roadway here for me. So it just took some initiative and it showed me something, and I was prouder of that than it was anything he's done here, Coach. Is just to see him take initiative. He saw something that needed doing, and he went and did it.
Amen.
That's that boy's gonna make a heck of a farmer one day.
Yeah. Those life lessons are just invaluable, and I think about, as I was reflecting on some of your activities with Jeremiah, this
Hmm.
week is when those young people, like those young seedling, the sprouting seeds, they are so tender, and that's when they need the care the most. And then when
Yes.
you said you don't want to put the treatments, until they're mature enough.
Yeah.
You can kill a good stand of grass with fertilizer.
Yes, sir.
You can
That's
try to
right.
you got to kind of meet them where they're at. You've got to have some spiritual discernment. They don't necessarily. He's not at the point. You didn't go over premillennial dispensationalism or anything like that with him. You didn't.
No,
Okay. Or
true.
propitiation or.
But but we talked about salvation and the uh, you know different concepts and things. So and that's what I've enjoyed this week is I've got to answer questions and share with young Jeremiah and things, and that's just been a great blessing for me just to as you put it, I'm pouring into him as much as I can. And he's going, I'd like to go home Saturday because I kind of miss my game system. And so he wants to go home and play games. But he said, I can come back next Friday and spend the weekend with you. I said, maybe so. We'll check with his mama.
Yeah.
But taught him how to play bocce ball, and every young fella needs to know how to play Italian lawn bowling, right? That's what I call it. But yeah, so what do I need with a bocce set anymore? It's just me and Miss Diane, and we ain't gonna go stand out here and play bocce ball with Bubba. So
Do
yeah,
they?
I'll give him those. And
He's what, 13? He might be a little old. Do they still make
13,
the
yes,
old crystal radio kits? Remember those?
I do remember those. I don't know, Coach. I'll be
I
honest,
don't know where you'd find
but
one today. You wrap the wire around a toilet paper dispenser
yeah,
roll.
yeah. And he doesn't know it yet, but he's going home with a new lasso too, so
There you go.
he can keep practicing his roping and things.
I remember
So
when my father, I first shot a gun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an important thing here, and a very important concept is it's difficult to understand the rite of passage in our culture because they get contradictory signals. You know, you'll be
Yes.
an adult when you're 18. You know,
Yeah.
but you'll be an adult when you're 15. You can drive. Well, not really. You can drive with as long as somebody else is with you. Then when you're 16, you can drive by yourself. Then when you're 18, you can vote, but you can't have a beer until you're 21. And you know, there's all this
Yeah.
conflicting, and yet at the hormonal level, okay, the sap's
Yeah.
rising, so we can make all the laws we want to. But anyway, the conferring of manhood can only come from another man.
Yeah. Very true,
And
Coach.
now, single moms, we love you and we're supporting you, but I'm sorry, you cannot confer manhood onto a young man. Only another man can do that. So my father, one way we do this is when my father he trusted me with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
A gun. And he took me out into the woods and found a gourd. You know what I'm talking about? Those wild
Mm-hmm.
growing
Yes, sir.
gourds. You know, they're like a little
Sure.
watermelon. You
Yeah.
know, they're about that big.
Yeah.
And it was a little 410 Savage over and under. And he
Okay.
dropped a little 3-inch round into that thing, you know, 410. And I fired it on that gourd. And that gourd splattered to the high heavens because it was only
Yes.
about 10 yards away, you know.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing that so that I wouldn't miss. He wanted me to permanently remember the harm that
Amen.
weapon
Yeah.
can do to whatever it hits.
I
And
did the same. I did the same thing yesterday, Coach, with a water bottle filled with water and a 22.
Yeah.
And when he, okay, clear, let's walk down range, right? You know, safety on, everything. And I took him down there and I showed him that bottle. Once he hit it, you know,
uh-huh.
I showed him that bottle, and of course it just exploded and ripped apart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his mouth drops open. I said, now imagine if, I said, what are we, 78% water, the
Uh-huh.
human body?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know, and I explained the water pressure inside did that, you
Yeah.
know?
Uh-huh.
And boy,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that's
Uh-huh.
hit home.
Yep.
Yes. And he took a picture of it. He said, I got to show this to Mama. You know,
Well,
I said,
and
that's right.
when
So
I was a
he's not quite ready to take a gun home with him,
right.
a weapon home with him, but you know, maybe down the road when I see a little more maturity, a little more
Yeah.
responsibility. You know, that's what grandpas are good for, right?
Well, they're good at it, you know. My grandpa, I can remember I used to sit in his lap because he smoked a pipe, and I loved the smell of that pipe. And I'll
Yes.
never forget, he gave me a pocket knife. I was just about,
Okay.
oh yeah, I was about 13. And we were headed back home. I was in the back seat of our Plymouth Fury, if you remember those, Fury 3. And I said, look, Papa gave me a knife. And my mother grabbed that knife. And of course, for the ivory decoration was a topless.
Oh no, coach.
But the you know the use of weapons and understanding when I was it really drove the message home on 2 occasions. You know, one was a friend of mine. He was about 14 or 15 at the time. Was out hunting and he was crossing a fence, JD, and you know he had left. If you prop your gun on a fence and then you spread that fence, that gun is
things
going.
are gonna happen.
It's that I mean, and he died out in the woods, and I remember, you know, the adults saying that one, he shouldn't have been out with a gun by himself. Number one, it's tragic, but number 2 is never prop your gun on a fence.
No.
Okay, because it's dangerous. The other one was a friend of mine. His name was Ricky Carlisle. And we all had our dirt bikes, and he was killed in an accident. Well, it wasn't an accident. It had a cause. It wasn't accidental or random. But JD, from the moment my daughter was able to understand any words at all, And I still say it to anybody who will listen. The laws of physics are immutable.
Yeah.
They will not make exceptions for you, no matter how sorry you are. If you are operating an automobile, you are driving a 4,000-pound missile loaded with explosive ordnance.
Yep.
And we just need to, we need to respect, we need to, one, know the laws of physics. Number two, we need to respect them. And we need to learn to work with them. But I like to boil the ocean, you know.
No, it's a good point. So,
Yeah,
it's
anyway.
a good point. But, you know, I think the important thing with Jeremiah, and same thing with Miss Diane, is what am I pouring in? How am I helping them grow? Because if I'm not, guess who's got to stand in front of the Lord one day and be responsible for that, right? You know, it all comes back to the man in the mirror, doesn't it? And you know, we need to think about how are we helping our family grow spiritually, every bit as much as how we're helping our crops grow and our calves grow and everything else. We need to be making those investments in eternity, as myself and our buddy Mr. Ken Edwards like to call them.
There you go.
Yeah, let's make some investment and some eternal investments.
JD, I enjoy reading your blogs, but also enjoy just chatting with you. And we finally got the fireside chat that I've been wanting for months.
We have, yes, sir.
And,
I'm enjoying this studio. This looks so nice, Coach.
Well,
just cozy and comfortable at home, aren't we, buddy?
We just keep getting better and better and better. And appreciate you sharing with us,
There
JD.
you go.
And we'll see you about this time next week or so. And see you in the chat room.
Absolutely, sure. Looking forward to it. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
All right. Well, folks, there's the view high atop the Eagle's Nest. That is the broadcast facilities here at pjnet.tv. And it's Thursday night. That's going to wind it up for me this week. Now, that does not wind it up for pjnet.tv. We're very much on the air Friday, but it's very different. I get the night off. Thank goodness. And Steve Hazards takes over. And hey, drop in about 9 o'clock because he'll be playing some retro tunes, some jazz, and we just kind of let our hair down a little bit. Every now and then I'll do a little, take the helm and play a few oldies. But anyway, Steve is a wonderful member of the PJNet family. At 10 o'clock, he produces a program called My Perspective and Comment. And he goes back through the past week and finds news items that are worthy of and how they are impacting not only our world but our personal lives. But he examines it from a spiritual point of view, and he always brings it home. Then he'll have a little segment at the end where he just kind of brings it all home. And he's gotten to be a very effective communicator of the gospel message. And he uses those current events as a way of getting us to think about the world around us. And we're at war. The Bible says so. And it's among principalities. Stronger than we are. Anyway. I hope you'll join us for that on Friday nights with Steve Hazard. Starts about 10 p.m. Eastern. Thank you also to all the people. This studio that we have just brought into service tonight, commissioned it tonight, has been a dream for, well, literally years. And so many people have a part to play in it. And at risk of leaving someone out, I just want to thank Barbara, Sunbelt girl, who stays up. She zooms in kind of and looks over my shoulder and helps with the things that I'm not good at. The coloring, the alignment, the decor, and I realize that we don't have any plants inside yet, but anyway, we're just reaching new heights, and God is so good in so many ways, and we just want to keep doing our very, very best because the scriptures tell us to work as unto the Lord. That means do your best, folks, doesn't it? Okay, but all right, that wraps it up for me. I'll leave you with two questions. The first one is this. Ready? What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Second question is, how long ago was that? And I just hope that none of us will be satisfied with either answer.